We're going to start off with free gain. So the simplest thing that you can do without having to get any better technically or get any stronger is set the bag up. So can you one of you guys show how you'd set the bag up if you were going to do a run? Which you see quite a lot of people, it's just they'll do a run and they'll have a bag set like that, bag set like this. How would you set it up, Joe?
For me, it's always handle nearest to myself, and you can always sort of feel the weight of the bag. There will be one side that I suppose is, you want it pretty even, don't you really? But
yeah, definitely.
If you're picking up the bag and it's not, say, even, there's more weight to one side, or to the front or to the back, just try and get it a little bit of a pat down like that will help. And the handle closest to where you are starting from, and then obviously your reach is not as far. When you're
like it sounds so obvious, but
yeah,
you see it like analysing people at comps and that, and you see the handles, they've got a 5-bag run and the handles in the middle. And then you look at the timings, like you look at you guys at Brits, there's split seconds in it, and that could be a split second thing. Right, so I want you to give me a free gain, give the guys a free gain, so like 20-second tip.
Don't train too heavy. Probably the most important thing is, don't train too heavy. Just as many reps as possible at a lightweight where you can fully launch the bag. I would say is really important. Yeah.
So I think that is a really good thing to think about for people who are invested. Like say, quite people have bought like when we started training it, for instance, we just bought one bag, and then you had to pick, what weight should we start with? Should we start with 12? Should we start with 18, 14 or whatever? But the key thing is, if you're unsure, go a little bit too light. Because if you go too heavy, you're just going to be practicing. Like basically, if you go too light, you can get the trajectory gains. It's a bit like, I always think about it as like a stone loading, right? If you go really light, you can always get loads of value from loading to a high platform that transfers when you come to your heavy stones. But if you're just training heavy stones all the time, and you come to like a moderate weight to a high platform, it's not really transferable. Whereas doing the light work is always transferable to the heavier work. Yeah. Of course, like it's down to budget. If you can afford to have a few bags, then great. But realistically, I know that some people who train at home, you just have one bag, but I would say start light and start lighter than what you think. So if you're doing like a comp and like say, I don't know, 16's the middle bag, 14's the start bag, you haven't got much experience with bag throw, I'd probably even start with like a 12 or a 12.5 or a 13, get really consistent, get them finishing in the same point, etc. And also what you can do as well, for the guys training at home, another little tip is what's really useful, because obviously once you've committed to a weight, realistically, in practice, that it's a pain to swap the bags over with sand. So what you can do is, if you start light, what you could do is start with a 12, for instance, and then you can get some micro plates, some small plates. You can actually just add the plates into the bag. So you can put a 2.5 plate into a 12, make it a 14.5. Put a 5 kilo plate in, you've got a 17, and you can swap those over pretty quickly. Right, so let's get into a bit of technique work here let's go for a demo. So let's actually, we're going to go, I want you to go over this one, Joe. I want you to go over the middle platform, because this is the most common height that you're going to get in comps, whether it's 4 meters exactly. So, let's go with it. Let's see what we're doing. So in fact, great. So you return it. Yeah, you go there and let's just do a few reps back and forth, and then we'll break down the technique and look into it. Good stuff. Do one more each, and then we'll look at breaking it down. Good stuff. So for context, for people watching this is what, 18 kilos?
No,
14 kilos over
14
over 4 meters.
Pretty high.
Yeah. Right, good stuff. So let's go into ideal swing mechanics. So this is something that I've really looked into. I haven't seen anybody break it down on bag throw for Strongman. So what I did to get my head around it, because basically I did really poorly in the comp, I didn't really understand what was going for really. I was just kind of practicing blindly really. So if you guys are listening to this, make some notes, because you're just going to be able to take loads of technique shortcuts and save loads of time with your training by just implementing the stuff that I'm going to tell you. So what I did, I looked at what the best people in the world are doing doing vertical throws, which people who do Highland Games, and they do weight over bar. So they'll do it with a single arm with whatever the weight is. It's a metal thing that they throw over a target. So I looked at what the best guys are doing in there in terms of analysis, and studied some videos from a biomechanical standpoint, and then basically came and applied it to this. And then I've simplified, like I like being nerdy about stuff and looking at the intricacies of breaking things down, but I suppose what I've been good at as a coach is actually simplifying that for people who want to get better, but they don't really want to necessarily study it. They just want to take the best bits from it. So that's what we've done with this stuff. So let's have a look at. Let's go for Tim. Let's get a video from the side.
18.
Yeah, let's go for 18 over 4. And I just want you to do a set of 3. And then we'll have a look, and we'll break down what he's doing, and we'll show you some drills what you can do. That's great. So what Tim's doing here, so Tim, you keep going. So what Tim's doing, what the game changer for Tim in terms of learning this throw technique, the biggest change that he's made, that is going to be the most important point we make today, is about where the bar goes and where the bag travels. Right? And the key thing is that we want to do is we want to basically enter the backswing as high as physically possible, and then exit on the way down as low as possible. So where a lot of people go wrong is they're going backswing and front, like the forward swing, exactly the same, almost like a kettlebell swing, if you will. Whereas what we're aiming to do, and actually just do a set of 10 swings. Tim.
Bad ones or good ones?
No. In fact, let's highlight the difference between a kettlebell swing. So just do it, same exit, same entrance, same exit. So you can see there, really good, really powerful kettlebell swing. Probably be able to swing a really, really heavy kettlebell. Great technique for kettlebell swinging. But the difference is with kettlebell swinging, or like your Russian kettlebell swings in particular, what you're doing with the kettlebell swing is propelling the weight forwards out there. So about providing a lot of power through hip extension, almost like a deadlift, if you will. So basically, what we're doing, the power is optimised for going out there. Whereas what we want with a throw is almost like an overhead, like the stuff that we've covered on the dumbbell, the log, the axle. We want to produce as much force as we can vertically, like that. So what we have to do is use the kind of power of loading the hips like you're going to do a kettlebell swing, but then change the trajectory on the way out to optimise the release of where the bag goes. So we're going to load high here to get loads of power, and then almost like a scooping action, we'll let the knees break, which in turn will almost let the bag scrape along as close to the floor as you can without scraping. And this is just going to instantly make it more powerful. So let's just have a look at it. So I want you to do 2 reps. Sorry, just do 1 rep low. I want you to try and put exactly the same power in it. I know it's tough, but basically go low entrance, and then the same out, and then put exactly the same power in, but with a high entrance and low out, and then I'll explain what's going on in terms of basic biomechanics. So that's looks pretty good. That's what most people you see who are doing bag throw. That's what most people are doing, and they're getting stronger at that kind of technique, which looks pretty good, to be fair. But now let's go with a high entrance, and just to be fair, technically in terms of trajectory, that wasn't quite as good as a throw, whereas the second one, the second one there was just instantly more power there. So let's do one more and then I'll explain what's going on. So that was good. So that was obviously the more power, like the second technique, but a better trajectory as well. So let me explain what's going on. So what I want you to do in the background is I want you to have one of you facing, one of you doing your swings that way, one of you doing swings the other way, just for the sake of the camera. And I want you to just practice, say you do a set 20 or whatever, just until you get a bit fatigued. And I want you to practice, because this is an absolutely brilliant drill in itself, in terms of learning the swing, because you think of the limiting factor with bag throw is amount of volume accumulated in any given session. So, because what you're doing, if you're throwing over there and then you go and return it and then it costs energy picking it up, like doing say 10 sets of 3 for instance, 30 reps, it's going to take you a little while to do because you're going to be collecting the bags every time. So I actually like, for the sake of technique practice in terms of volume accumulation in practicing your mechanics, like actually just doing some swings. And simple thing for programming would be you could easily, if you do 3 sets of 10, you could even go like heavier than what your max is. Yeah, you could go like say 28 bags or something, 3 sets of 10 at the start, and then at the finish, and then your main session's 10 sets of 3. You've got 90 reps in there instead of just 30. Yeah, so you've got a lot more.
I think as well, just for the swings, in terms of kind of like proprioception, you get so used to where you want that bag going, and by the time you actually come to your sets, you're used to just going, boom, there's where I want it, there's where I feel kind of my hips and hamstrings are loaded with power. Instead of trying to, your first few actual throws, trying to work out where I'm going with the bag, no, that's not right. You feel like
you can feel it all out, can't you? So then, yeah, exactly. So basically, it's just saying proprioception is just feeling where he should be. So yeah, that's a simple thing that I would recommend for everybody to do to accumulate more practice and volume, especially for those people who feel like, I feel really strong. I've even been to a gym and done some bag throw, and I can do like a heavy bag over 4 meters, but I'm just inconsistent. Yeah, this is going to be great for you. Is basically just basically you could even do it with a kettlebell. To be fair, is just practicing these mechanics. This is what Joe needs to do actually compared to Tim. Tim's done a little bit more work practicing this high entry and low exit. So let me explain to you what's happening from a kind of logical biomechanical standpoint with the swings or the swing that we're trying to get you to do. Right. So go low. So do the low entrance, low exit. So what we're trying to do is basically talk about moment arms quite a lot, of levers and stuff like that on the previous episodes. What we want to do is basically try and lengthen this moment arm as much as possible. So the distance from Tim being attached to the heaviest point of the bag, we want that to be as long as possible. But what we want to do, so that's another little cue in itself, by the way. See a lot of people say with bent arms or flexed elbows, like sometimes you see an error on deadlifts and stuff like that when people are flexed. So if you think from a moment arm perspective, the shortening that lever there, so instantly just getting somebody to kind of extend the triceps is just going to instantly lengthen that moment arm. So doing
relaxing as well though.
Yeah, for some people, just they're creating tension there. So actually just cueing them to relax and almost let the bag dictate, make your arms long. But you do get quite a lot of guys in strongman who are like, say, back and bicep dominant, who are actually might have to cue themselves to tensor triceps to get that straight arm. Right. So what we're doing once we've got we've kind of lengthened this moment arm. What we're trying to do now is what we want to do with that bag. We want to use gravity as our friend. Yeah, gravity is going to assist us. So what we want to do is basically get this bag literally as high as we physically can. Like, look, imagine you're trying to reach that bag up towards my hand, Tim. That's it. Because if he goes low, look how look at the distance. Come and have a look from the side. The height that he's getting. Go low. Sorry. So if he's going low, the height of that bag is limited. It's down here. So if he's down here, when that bag is like weightless and begins the down phase, it's actually getting you're getting less starting from a lower point.
Okay.
So you're getting less assistance from that gravity because there's less distance that he's travelling. So what we want to do logically is create as much height as we can with the sandbag in terms of we want it to start. That's the simplest way to think about it. Is we want the bag to start its down phase from the highest point that we can. So just do one more demo looking back. So we'll go low and just have a look with, like I want you to, and if it means rewinding this video slow-mo in it, just look at the height that the bag starts the down phase there. So how much you compared to coming high. Yeah, so enter high, exit low. Yeah, that looks great. And instantly, just swinging it, he's not even accelerating there. The bag was popping up higher there, wasn't it? Just because he's manipulating gravity and positions, yeah? Have you got anything to add on that?
I think in terms of the backswing, the one thing to kind of not get confused upon then is the key is to control it, isn't it? You see a lot of guys, and ladies obviously, swinging that bag almost out of control aggressively to get it to that position, whereas I think the key is to kind of just almost place it to that position.
Yes, that is.
Because what we don't want the bag to get to that position and kind of be tilting upon itself when it gets to that back position, because then all of a sudden the bag's just going to feel a lot heavier. So we're trying to get that bag to this position, but it's feeling weightless. So we're placing it there, so we're getting it in the perfect position. Then we can accelerate out of that kind of top point as such.
Yeah, so think about this, it might maybe help you drawing a diagram like some people, the way people think. But as Tim says, like we want, just think of the backswing in particular, rather than being aggressive with it and trying to get loads of power. Like if you just recklessly accelerate here, like not only is it going to be, your power's going to be inconsistent, it's going to be all over the place, but you're going to have to like decelerate that bag somehow before you accelerate it out. So like Tim says, what we should prioritize is find this point here, which you can start to feel with the kettlebell, with the swings, like Tim was just doing there when he was demonstrating, and then he went to the high entrance, and all of a sudden, putting the same power in the bag was just popping up here, like without adding any more power to it. So the key thing, what we're looking for is actually just deliver it to this, deliver it to the point. And Tim used the word weightless, so we want to deliver it to this point where it's weightless, where the bag is neither going backwards nor forwards, so it's just as the back phase is finished, but before the down phase has begun. That point should be weightless. That point of weightlessness before we start to accelerate, the goal is to be as high as possible. Yeah? So pause, think about that for a moment and make notes on that what we just said.
I think if you watch your videos, if you've done a bit of bag throw, and you watch your fails particularly, you'll spot that moment at the kind of the back of the backswing. If you're not getting that slide, that's probably where you're failing a lot of the time. I think. When watching each other train, me and Joe, I know if he's going to get a rep before he's released it from that back point, So if he messes that part up, I can see that he's going to fail his rep before he's even released the bag.
It's usually because you can see the bag shift.
Yeah, should we try and get a
in
video
direction and it'll turn on itself almost.
If you go too far, you can see the bag. You were doing it before, Joe. It's kind of, I can feel it moving around. You can actually hear the sand moving in the bag. Whereas if we get it to that place where it feels weightless, deliver it there. The sand's obviously quite.
So the thing is, at a lighter weight, obviously you're going to get away with it. But as soon as it gets to a reasonable weight, your sort of maximal weight, any sort of minor inconsistency with that sort of swing is then when it becomes incredibly heavy.
You feel it pull you almost, don't you? You feel off balance when you get to that point because all of a sudden you've got 18, 20 kilo of sand shifting direction because you've not delivered it to the right area. You're doing it with 10, 12 kilo, you can probably get away with it and just bully it, but when it gets a little too heavy, it's going to shift you out of position, isn't it?
So big tip where you're thinking about, right, where I'm adding the power, where the big error that we see with people starting out is people think, right, this is getting heavy now, or I'm getting fatigued. So then they'll do this thing where they'll lift it high and then massively load that backswing. Whereas what I challenge you to do after you watch this video is actually just be a lot more relaxed with that backswing. Focus on the delivery to that point that's as high as possible, that's weightless, and then accelerate. So actually relax the backswing a little bit and focus on the positioning, and then once you've hit that positioning that's really high, then start the show and then accelerate that down phase. So I want you to really exaggerate that. I want you to go almost like imagine you're trying to do a slow-mo on the back phase, and then once you've reached that terminal point, then accelerate on the way down. So I want him to actually demonstrate here rather than where you see people going like that really, really fast.
Yeah, just kind of building on what you're saying there. I think sometimes you see people, they're literally like this, aren't they? I might even say this part here is irrelevant, isn't it? You're not getting anything from there. If you watch me actually do it, I kind of just deliver it to there.
Yes.
Because that's where the power is going to come from. There.
Yeah, very good.
You're almost actually, you say that first part is irrelevant. The only time it becomes relevant is when you're actually losing it because you're going too high.
Yeah.
So you've almost lost the back throw before it's even gone through your legs.
Yeah. So this is a really important point. That you go back to the weight over bar guys, the Highland Games guys. Look at the guys that are the best in the world there. And there's a video that I'll link up to this as well that we can go and watch as a separate thing. Where he's drawn some diagrams on there and explains what we've just gone over in a little bit more depth. But if you feel like you understand it, like just go and steal these points and go and apply them, and it'll be great. So
I think if you get that back to there weightless, you're in a really good position.
Another good little diagram to imagine in your head would be like imagine there's like there's a pen and you're drawing like a big arc here, like you see people with the kind of bent knees on the backswing. That arc, or like bent knees, bent arms on the backswing, that kind of arc here is really, really small. Yeah, we'll do that drill in a moment. Whereas you think people with the long arms increasing the lever and then really getting back and getting that bag starting higher, they're drawing a massive arc. So obviously the bigger the arc, the more acceleration you can get and you can create on the bag with producing the same force with the body. Yeah. So one other little thing what you can get, which is probably a little bit more advanced actually, which I probably get Tim to do, both of you to do now actually, which is because you nail it, you prioritise this position, and this position is brilliant. Yeah. Whereas now what I think you could do is almost like to make that position even further. What I want you to try on this next one actually, let's give it a go. I suppose for the next phase of training, this is what you can do. He's almost thinking, you know, like you're almost set on that backswing, but just delivering it to that position and that accelerate now. So what I want you to do to get to develop this position even higher and get even further, I want you to imagine you're not just letting the bag drop and go high. I want you to imagine you're pulling that down with your lats and almost like reaching back. You're almost like reaching with your fingertips to the back wall on that backswing. And you might just get a couple.
Want me to push it further or?
Yeah, let's have a go. Let's have a go. And it doesn't matter if it's not great, but I want you to. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So instead of just here and then we're really reaching with those arms, like trying to touch your fingertips to the back wall, just to try and manipulate that arc a little. Oh, that looked really good. Yeah. And if you're being really geeky with this, right, as soon as Tim, because we're adding in like a cue, we're doing a cue that is thrown in, it's gone to, an error that we're going to go over some error fixing in a minute, but you can see an error coming. And if you saw it real time, great. If not, you need to rewind it and look what he did with his feet. The throw was good, yeah, loads of power, but watch where his body weight went. His body weight went forward, so he's just leaving it.
Felt like I was trying to like compromise for pushing further.
He did, but I'm just pointing that out for the sake of the video. What in reality, going back to like say the coaching styles that we've talked about in the other videos, what I want Tim to do, like for the sake of training, is it doesn't matter that his weight's going forward. It doesn't matter that error is creeping in. I don't want him to fix that. Yeah. That's just going to be something that we focus on another day and it just ties up. The only thing that I want him to do is the thing that he did really well on that video was actually reaching back. And the logic behind the reaching back, for the sake of Tim, is this arc that we've talked about demonstrating. We're just trying to manipulate that arc a little bit more and make it that if he can reach half a centimetre further, he's going to get loads more force by making that arc bigger. So let's just go a set 2, Tim, see what happens. That was brilliant. Yeah, in fact, leave it at that, because it might not do one as well as that. That was great. Let's have a look at Joe. Joe, do the same bag, and I'm just gonna do a bit of coaching here, and I'm gonna give Joe an error to prioritise. Let's see what happens here. Pretty good. So actually with Joe, what we prioritise, instead of the reaching back there, if you slow-mo this video and compare them, Joe's actually he's still going lower than Tim on the way back. So before we're trying to get him to reach, we just want him to load that backswing high. So a good cue for somebody like Joe is, imagine you're scraping your crotch with the handles. Like scrape your crotch with the handles. Like get as close as you can without actually touching. And it's just great. Whereas Joe it's a little bit comfortable. He's nowhere. Yeah, there's still a bit of daylight there. Whereas actually, come on. And I'm glad, and I like what he did there. He stopped because he felt it was, and that was better. Do one more, Joe. And then we'll talk about the other errors for the sake of the people in the video. So you can see what the priority of cues. For Tim, I want him to manipulate the arc even more. For Joe, I want him to get that delivery to that position good before we think about going powerfully into that point. So actually, just try relaxing a little bit more on that backswing, Joe.
I think there's so much value on bag throwing, filming from different angles.
Yeah.
You can see different errors from angles. You actually see Joe really well, leaving that kind of gap from the front.
Yeah.
But you can probably see my error a little bit better from the side. So when you're kind of doing your bag throw filming different angles, you'll spot different things.
And also what we've done there, because we're challenging them in terms of techniques. I like what's happening here. I like the fact that neither of them are finding it easy. I'm challenging them with slightly new things. And it's great, you can see that I'm challenging them because even though they do the cue well, a different error creeps in. And it's it's quite interesting. It's a bit like that one was better. People on the video will be able to see that. And we'll talk about drills and how we can improve that as well. So, going back to the postural thing that we said the other week on the kind of on the log and getting this rack position. Tim habitually finds it a bit easier, I think, but I know, to get a bit more extended. Yeah. So if Tim's a bit more extended in the upper spine here, what that can kind of do, if you if you think of like say a weightlifter back position, yeah, you find like a lot of weightlifters take to throwing really well, yeah, because they're really strong in this extended position, which Tim's kind of can hold the position a little bit easier habitually, but he's learned how to make it really effective in his back throw. Because what he's doing, if you look at Tim compared to most people, and it's going back to this like anterior chain versus posterior chain thing with Strongman, what you do, you turn it really well into like the anterior exercise. So you keep your chest really proud on that way, on the back swing. So keeps his chest high and keeps an extension as he loads back.
I think that helps me keep it delivered quite high.
Of course it does.
I'm just literally thinking
of course it does, yeah. So if you're going in, if Tim's going in like this and Joe's going in slightly like that, there's an inch there that you're lower. So we might be cueing Joe to end high, but give him a simple cue of just trying to keep his chest up a little bit more on the back swing. Let's see if it makes a difference. So that's it. So just keep your before you start the back swing, keep your chest on, show to the wall in front of you a little bit more. You can load it up if you want. You might find just doing a swing and then loading it up to aim high. That's it.
It's quite heavy to
That looked good. That looked better. Yeah. The only thing that was out there was the trajectory you came forward. But that was better. Let's do one more. Just use your first one to guide you where you want to be. That looked better. Like I knew, and I said before you'd even released it. That looked better.
probably a little too heavy.
Yeah. So what's that? 18.
It's quite heavy to work on technique, but
yeah. So anyway, we've seen the point there. That was really good. Yeah, and I know it feels alien. Yeah. But that was really good, and it'll be interesting for you to watch the video back and see the different. It just feels completely different. Yeah, you used to going like that. Yeah. So again, it's going back to this thing here, which you need to change your habits. Is you go into this position here. Why do you go into that position there? Because you are so unbelievably strong in that position. Yeah. This position here, you are so strong, resilient, produce a lot of force. But the problem is, you feel really strong at producing force, and a force, say you were testing how much force you produce in the force plate, brilliant, it's loads. But the force is going out there, whereas we want to go there. And that's why it's a bit of a it messes with your head a little bit sometimes, because actually we're sacrificing a bit of maximal force production for accuracy. Yeah, so we don't feel as strong there, but if we're going, yeah, it's going to be better for this drill. Let's talk about a couple of errors then. So, let's just talk about it logically. So we've seen the error that have come up there, where you're just following it forward. Yeah. Can you just do one more? Do one more.
What's a normal rep?
Pardon?
Just a normal rep.
Just a normal rep, but follow through forward. Yeah, so you can see that if he's following it forward with his feet because he's trying to produce more force, you're leaking so much power because all that power is a lot of that power is going here. Yeah. So, person who quite a few people know who do this. So I did it for Brits. Was Paul Smith. I noticed when he was going heavy, that's what he was doing. Like when he was wanting that extra couple of percent, following it forward, and then he's catching the lip or whatever. Whereas I suggested to him, I said just do exactly the same technique, but you've got to fall backwards, like to do it as you follow through. You've got to fall backwards, and then he did that, and he didn't fall backwards. It came more central. So that's like a simple little cue. If you're following it forwards, just try and like do the opposite. Like make yourself step backwards, and it might just bring you even. What kind of drill do you think you could do if you like putting you on the spot here? So either of you shout out, ideally you actually. So what do you think you could do using the principles that we've talked about the last few weeks? Like what could you do if somebody's like they're going like that and then they're falling forward, or they might be going like that and falling backwards? What do you think? What's optimal? What do we want?
Like a vertical jump.
Yeah.
Mid-foot.
Oh, sorry, yeah, go on.
Yeah, so we want. Well, show me the shape that we want if we take a screenshot.
What in terms of?
Yeah. What position do we want to be in when we've just released that bag?
But as a whole.
Yeah. So somewhere there where we've got that full body extension in a straight line. Yeah. So. How do you think we could? So if you're going there, if you're going here instead, then it's obviously not optimal, is it? Because the power's going in front. So what do you think we could do to get better at that and more consistent at hitting that? Spend more time there. Yeah, simple. It's the simple answer to most things when we have like a bit of a technique deficit. Yeah, spend more time. Yeah, you do like say. Somebody's.
What, so when you release the bag, just holding that position, or? Yeah?
Why not? Yeah? So what you'd have to do is drop the weight down to accommodate, because you're not going to be able to do that with 18, yeah? So if we've got like a 12 or 11, perfect. Let's go with the 11, right? So what I want Joe to do now is, what I want you to do is, don't worry so much about where it ends up. I want you to just throw it, and I want you to get onto your tiptoes and see if you can count to 3 on the top position. Basically pause at the top. Pretty good, Joe. Who's better? This is really, really tough, by the way. So for this, I recommend everybody to try this. Let's go one more, and then we'll get Tim to do it, because Tim is particularly good at this in terms of his follow-through and his trajectory. And that's why these guys will often produce a similar amount of force, but Tim will often pick Joe.
Oh, that was awful. I'm surprised by the way it's back. Give me a sec.
Yeah, in fact, you might be better with a 14 actually.
Yeah.
Take a bit of the power out of it, and let's see if we can pause at that top position. Yes. Yeah.
But it's trying to do it in slow motion almost.
Exactly. So, do you feel there that you're pausing at that top position and you're almost calibrating it? You're almost thinking, I'm going forward, that's power leakage. But do one more. You get better at this. Really good. Still leaking forward a little bit, but a lot better. Anyway, but you could do that. You could do that drill, and it's not tiring whatsoever, apart from like. For your brain, but you could literally. I did it the other day when I was in here doing it, and it was just made myself pause on that, drop the weight, went back to the same weight over here that I was struggling with, and I was just popping it over it instantly. Yeah. So let's go back to the 18, Tim, and I want you to, because that was great, and I want you to just aim to finish in the same position, but you don't need to pause. Yeah. And let's see if. Pretty good, better than the heavy one before. But anyway, like this could be, you could do 20 minutes of that, and you could do like, in fact, next session you do like a little five sets of 3 with the 11.5 or 12 or 13 or something, and just aim to, if you get better, if you get to the point where you can, where you feel like falling straight away, to the point where you can hold it for even 2 seconds, you go to this. You go to the heavier bags, and like instantly it's going to feel better and more consistent. Yeah. So that's a great one for you to work on. Another simple little cue that Tim does particularly well me and Joe not quite so well yet, is going back to this top position that Joe just demonstrated, or we just demonstrated, where we want to go here. Yeah, we want to go here, full extension with the arms. Yeah, that's what Tim does exceptionally well. Is he hits that full extension. Once he's fully extended with the body, with the legs and then the torso, he actually lets his arms fully extend. Sometimes if you watch us when we go heavy, I do it pretty well with the lighter bags, but when we're going heavy, you'll snatch it a little bit. That's a really common error. You'll see people going like that, and you slow down the follow through, and you think, well, why are they not following through? They're going to get another couple of percent or whatever in terms of
sometimes power. Like watching Joe, particularly obviously train with Joe more, when you fail on the heavy bags,
yeah,
it'll just basically go straight up and come back down, just even hit the barrier sometimes.
Yeah,
that's probably why.
So that's what. Let's have another little drill. So, another little thing on that. What's really good to think of. I like to think about what we want to do is that you're going to be more successful with any kind of overhead lifting if we learn how to keep these arms relaxed, just like in the push press, the axle, the dumbbell, when we talked about keeping the relaxed arms. Exactly the same principle here. We don't. If you're trying to pull on that bag with your biceps as like a main focus, you are really limiting yourself on how good you can be at this. So what I want you to think of your arms doing is, you might want to note this down because it's an important point. Like let your arms or let your fingers steer the ship. So you want to go. All the power is coming from the lower body and the torso, and then the fingers. I want you to finish and basically point to where you want the bag to go.
You want to guide it almost, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I want you to just do a normal rep, Joe. You're just trying to launch it and put as much power as possible into it. Come on. If you need to load it up, you can. All right, pretty good. Right, so this time what I want you to do is just put a little bit less be a little bit more relaxed in the upper body, less pull, yeah. And I just want you to point your fingers up to the ceiling once you've finished. That was really good. That was better. Yeah? Subtle little cue.
I didn't feel like you tried when you were high.
Yeah, that was I didn't see exactly how high they went, but you could see on that second, the second one was so much more efficient. Yeah?
I think just going on what Joe was touching on there about in terms of how hard you have to try.
Yeah.
I feel like if you get your technique right, actually, in terms of how hard, how difficult and how much you have to put into it, is minimal. You think about the load you're actually moving compared to all the other events.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you're just thinking about just trying to get stuff right and just really relaxed, just trying to make sure I'm getting that there, extending it proper, and just letting that weight almost go.
So do another one there, and this is a great example because his technique is very good, his strength is on this is world class. But let's try and make it even better. Right, so I want you to finish with your fingertips touching the ceiling. It looks really good, and then just spoil it a little bit like here. A little bit early. Yeah. Let's finish high. Touch your fingertips to the ceiling. That was nice. You can see if we're being really picky. Could he have paused on the toes there? No, his weight was going back ever so slightly. So that could be the subtle difference between finishing like a heavy run that he's confident with getting, and he just fails that final bag because it clips the thing too early. Yeah, just do one more and then we'll cover some other points. That was excellent. Really good. So Tim's made a great point in terms of the loads that you're actually using. Really light, yeah? So you could go on what's the most you've done over that? 24?
Yeah.
24-ish or whatever, pretty easily. Could probably do 25, 26-ish now, I reckon. And that's like that's heavy in terms of bag throw, but in terms of comparative to load you're putting through your body compared to your other exercises, it isn't. So therefore, what you can find with this is you can recover really, really well. Another point as well, without getting too scientific, is it's concentric only. So a lot of the time when we get like, say, muscle damage and soreness and stuff, it's when we're getting a lot of eccentric stress, or when we're using like the muscles and joints and systems to decelerate a kind of weight or whatever, you know, like say
lowering your log or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or you a squat and you're doing your eccentric into the hole or whatever. Whereas this, you're doing the concentric, and there's no deceleration component. You're not having to produce force to stop you're just letting go of it. Yeah. So actually, you can do loads and loads of volume at like high percentages, and recover. So the implications for programming is you can do loads. You can do loads. So in terms of what I would recommend for programming is you can do as much bag throw as you can fit into your training schedule. Yeah, you did a phase of training it every time you came in.
Every day, about 6 months. Yeah.
And just the results, and we'll see if we can attach it to this. Like, get one of your earlier videos, struggling with 14 over that. Like,
it's a good warm up, isn't it? At least for 10 minutes.
That's it. So you can put it in as you warm up. You can put it in as a finish. You could easily do, say, 3 sets of 15 swings with the 26 bag at the end of any session as a bit of a cool down. Another thing, what's really great about using it as a warm up, like how do you feel after bag throw? Like you do 10 minutes bag
throw.
Feel
Brilliant.
That's it.
Better than when you came in.
That's it. And you're doing a lot of the things here that we need to do for our other events as Strongman. Is you're getting out of flexion into extension. Yeah. And you'll probably find that if you're using the technical pointers that we've covered so far, if you come in and you very often come in and do a few throws and you're like, oh, my back, or whatever, and you do a few throws and you come first you come in jarring it like that, and then you make it feel sweet, and you've just opened like everything up and using it to.
It's brilliant what to do before log and stuff, isn't it? Thinking about getting onto your toes.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. It's great. So full extension, error fixing. We've covered full extension. So how to get there. So a drill that we did the other week when we're talking about people talk about triple extension and stuff. So actually a really, really great proprioceptive drill, or just basically teaching yourself what you're supposed to feel. There's a thing that I did the other day when, for people who were struggling to get up onto the toes, and just coming up onto here, like we're doing on your push press, so you do it against the rack, and here, now, it might not look like I'm working out, but I'm maximally contracting my glutes, contracting my quads, contracting my calves, and getting here. We can take it a step further with for throw, and really reach up there. And then once you've felt that position, I'm not saying do loads of it, you might do like say a 20-second hold at that, you'll find it a lot easier to basically find that as your end position. Because if you take all the building blocks of what we said earlier on, then we just say, right, all this stuff about loading high, how do we get here, and then basically finish at the point what I've just felt, like you're gonna understand what you're supposed to feel a lot easier. And it'll probably in turn help you grasp. That'd be good for you, Joe. I'd say put that into your next session. You do your rolling around stuff, rolling your shins. So like just lean on something, so it's not necessarily a balance drill, and just really exaggerate this extension here. Yeah, and if you don't want to, I don't like people to think too technically about what all the, you know, triple extension that people talk about and stuff. Like I like thinking of simpler cues that take care of everything else. So if you just think about basically trying to touch your fingertips, like there's £1,000 dangling from the ceiling, you want to grab it, you just think about that, you get better at that and you get better at reaching, and you're all this extension throughout the body, you're going to find the most efficient way to do it. So then you do that first. Say you just do 20 seconds at that and try to improve it every session, just 20 seconds, yeah? Because what you'll find, all the little stuff that you're doing, like the rolling, stretching and stuff, that'll actually make you get better at this. But then you get that, and that's really specific to the thing over here, what you want to finish it, and you're kind of inconsistent with. So you do that, it'll feed into this, which will feed into that here, and then you'll be able to finish with it more consistently. And then basically going back to the thing of putting the same power as Tim in, you're just going to get better results, yeah? So lose, oh yeah. So another error that you see is you see people, say like if I'm analysing myself actually, that look really good with like say lighter bags and technique that's good, and then you hit like a point where you just kind of get mauled by it almost. And basically I'll get to a point where the bags will be really good and consistent. I'll get to a certain point where I'll like lose my footing and feel like I'm kind of going all over the place, and I basically can't get that delivery to that top position on the backswing because I don't know how to control it. And so basically to fix that error, I'm a fan of using super maximal weights, i.e. going heavier than what your max is, and just doing some swings. So if I'm getting to that point over 4 meters where I get to like 20 foot, say I did a 25, say I did a 23, I can do it really well. Go to a 25 and I just look like I've never done it before, and I'm all over the place, my feet are unstable. So a good drill for somebody like that would be getting like a 28 bag, or like, and just get better. Like what I'd find if I go to like a 28, 30 bag, it feels really heavy at first and my feet are unstable all over the place and I don't know what to do. But get used to controlling what my feet are doing on that, and weight distribution, go back to the lighter bag, and I get better at delivering to that position that's so important consistently. So that's a good way to fix that error. What other error have we got? Inconsistent release. So if your error when you're doing a throw where you've got loads of power, you feel really confident that you're going to do all right in your comp because say you've got a bag run finishing on 22 and you feel like, oh, I've done 23 at another gym or whatever and I'm launching it or whatever. But then you put a run or a series together and then you're just like, you might hit a 14 bag to the back wall, and then you might hit a 16 up in the air and then it comes back and lands. Like you're inconsistent with that release, but I've got good technique and plenty of power when it goes right. Then what could we do?
Make sure all your bags are landing in the same position.
Yes. Yeah, brilliant. So what could you do practically as a drill? What could you
to aim for?
Yeah.
Particularly if you don't have a target to go over, kind of decide.
Brilliant.
Draw a little place on the
ground. Have you been reading my notes?
No,
like
training for 6 months. Let's go in.
Good, do that other back as well. So brilliant demo.
Oh, a bit lighter.
So basically what we're saying is that you could give yourself, you could draw a circle or something with chalk, yeah? And this is what Tim's touched on. This is a brilliant way for people to train. Say for instance you're like, well, I can do bag throw at a weekend at Gym X, and I've got my own bag that I can train through the week, but I don't know how high I'm throwing it or whatnot. Just give yourself a target. A big tip, roughly. What I would say is get about a metre away if you get roughly about 1 metre away and then land.
2 and 3 metres.
Yeah, so between like 2 and 3 metres in terms of trajectory as your ideal target. So basically, if I just launch it blind and don't have a target, I'm saying whatever the weight should be, roughly, should be around 3 metres-ish, approximately. But anyway, what you could do to train this practically is just draw yourself a massive, be kind to yourself, draw yourself a big circle to start off with, and that's your throw. Start off from the same spot, and you have to get all the bags grouping together, hitting the same circle. The goal is over time on this drill is make your circle smaller. Yeah, you make your circle smaller, you're more accurate. So that's a great hack to build your consistency for you guys who don't have a target and train at home and stuff. One other thing, footwear. So footwear, I would recommend definitely wearing lifting shoes, because it's going back to this thing of what we're going to do with the raised heel. Well, two things, and it's the same principle throughout all the overhead stuff. Two things. It's going to give you a really stable base to produce force through, because they feel rock solid. The other thing is elevated heel. So basically, if you look at some of your videos, or maybe you're just using your trainers or whatever, and just look at what your feet are doing, and you'll see, like a lot of people in the videos, the feet are all like moving around. So you'll find that it can be easy to keep stable with lifting shoe. The other advantage is that it keeps your heel elevated. So basically, what you're able to do is it's just going to help you keep a little bit more upright. If you and a good little test to do, because some people don't really some people struggle to get their head around this, even when we explain it, because it is quite complex. But a good little drill that you can do is, if you're unsure, because some people say, oh, well, I feel better in flats, so I'll just stick with flats. I would say that everybody's going to benefit from a lifting shoe, and I'll show you why. Right? So we'll take it the other way. Right? We'll instead of elevating your heel, because you've got those lifters on actually. So we'll put, and this is a good drill for you guys to do at home. Elevate your toes. So we're going to do the opposite. Just do your bag swing actually. Just do 3 swings of that. So this is the last drill to finish off, yeah?
What, without putting my toes on there?
Yeah, just do your normal swing. Right, look at that, torso angle, feet are stable, torso angle stays up, so you can keep that extended position, you can keep the bag high. Let's see what happens with the toes elevated. And this is a thing to just give a go at. So what he's having to do to compensate, and it's so subtle, I don't know how it feels, probably not very good. Pardon?
Feels grim.
So what he's having to do to compensate is he's having to compromise. So basically, to stop himself falling backwards, what are you having to do?
Yeah, go
exactly. He's having to go more into the position that Joe's kind of in, which is this forward position. So what happens when we drop the chest? What happens if we go like this?
Bag gets lower.
The bag gets lower, but also what happens to the force production? Well, if you produce the same force, where is the force more likely to go? Yeah, more like there, because you kind of bend over like this. Where we exaggerate it even more, we go elevate your heels on.
What?
No, that's elevating your toes. Elevate your heels. That's it. Right, and you can see now, exaggerating now, it's a doddle to keep that high position, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you with me? Mm-hmm. So we're really exaggerating it here with the kind of the heel elevation, but basically the lifting shoes are going to give you are going to help keep you more upright.
It's a really nice base, isn't it?
Yeah. So if you're unsure, give the shoes a go. Have you got anything else to add anymore?
I think the only final 30-second tip, I also recommend practicing transitions between bags
really important. If you can even get 2 bags and just keep doing. To a run, you release that first bag and you kind of spin around trying to find the next one. I think the only kind of final thing for me for 30 seconds is if you get all of that right in terms of your delivery to the back, you release your triple extension. I think trying to think about something we might not even really spoke about hugely, the acceleration of the bag. Kind of when we get to that back point, if we're delivering it there, I think that's when it should be boom. I think that's something that I've really kind of worked on the last few months, and you can watch your videos back, it almost looks like your bag is going at half speed to there, and then you're fast forwarding it to there. So if you're kind of watching, you can kind of see the bag's just going to there, it's boom! And that part there, and that's where we're going to get ultimate power. We're still controlling it, we're still keeping our limbs loose, and we're letting the gravity, but at that point there, that's when we're accelerating through the bag. We're not snatching it, we're putting even more force and power through the bag.
So to wrap up, building on Tim's point, so putting everything together, what we've said today, a lot of people are taking the error of having the error of like trying to accelerate so much on the backswing. Whereas if you think about from what you've learned today about being accurate on the backswing, and no matter the weight, delivering it to this high position, and then that's where the magic happens, where you go into Tim's point, and where you find that point of weightlessness, where it's neither going backwards backwards nor downwards, and that's where the magic, that's where the show starts in terms of the acceleration of the down phase, which Tim's just said.
If you can find that combination of using the gravity and then your acceleration, that's when the bag almost feels weightless when you're actually throwing it, because you've got it already going and you're just kind of accelerating it on its way. And obviously if you combine that with reaching that triple extension and that kind of final point, that's when everything starts to come together.
Brilliant, thank you.
Pleasure.